Okay, so today we have spent a lot of time on factoring polynomials. Today we're going to talk about dividing polynomials. Yeah, dividing polynomials, the first part of today's lesson, holy smokes, yipes, OMG. But the second part of today's lesson, easiest thing ever, one of my favorite things to do ever in math. So to divide polynomials using long division, that is yipes. But to divide polynomials using synthetic division, that is woohoo. Well, then you're going to love this lesson. Um, Sadly, synthetic always work, so we have to learn how to do long division also. So the first thing that we're going to do today is going to hurt your brain just a little bit, but you're going to be okay. Are you ready? Aaron says no. Eli's still on his phone. Are you ready now? No. Aaron says yes. I got to see your cool backpack this morning, so my life is complete. All right, let's review real quick regular old long division, because you probably haven't done this since like what, junior high? Maybe before that, elementary school, I don't even know what, okay? Because you have to know how to do regular long division to be able to do polynomial long division, okay? So for regular long division, let's say you were going to divide 672 by 21, and maybe in Germany you do it differently. If you do, we're all very excited to see the method that you guys use. Oh, okay. So the way that you do this is, since this is a two-digit number, you just figure out how many times it goes into this two-digit number, right? You make it into a, morning Gabby, make it into a simpler problem, okay? So how many times does 21 go into 67? 3 times. So you put a 3 up there on top, right? And then you go 3 times 21 is 63. And then what do you do with those two numbers? Subtract it. So 67 minus 63 is 4. Yep. And then you bring down the next number, was 42. And then you do the same process again, right? 42 divided by 21 is 2. This time 2 times 21 is 42. It goes in there evenly, so there's no remainder, and so we're done. Okay? Importantly, what that means is you never really think, or you never probably like heard your elementary school teacher say it this way, but you've basically factored 672 when you do long division like that. What you just figured out is 672 is equal to 21 times 32. You factored it into those two things. And the fact that it went in there evenly means that 21 is a factor of 672. Okay? How do you feel about that? You feel good about that? Yeah? All right. So let's see how that relates to polynomial division, because it's basically the exact same thing. So for polynomial long division, what they did is they took 672 and changed it into 6x squared plus 7x plus 2. So it's basically like 672, but instead of the 6 being like in the hundreds place and the 7 being the tens place and so forth, now it's the 6 is the x squareds place, the 7 is the x place, and the 2 is just the, constant term. All right? And so we're going to divide that by 2x plus 1, just like we divided that by 21 over here. Okay? The way that we do this is just like over here, when we just looked at those two things there, I'm going to say, what is 6x squared divided by 2x? Yeah, 6 divided by 2 is 3. And then if I divide x squared by x, then I get x, okay? So that's why there's a 3x right there. I would put it over here above the 6x squared, but whatevs. And then just like here they went 3 times 21 is 63. Now we're going to go 3x times 2x plus 1. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. That's why we chose the 3x, so that it would equal that. And then 3x times 1 is 3x. Okay? Here is the most complicated part of this process. Here is where 95% of mistakes are made. What do I do now? What do I do over here once I figure out that 3 times 21 is 63? Starts with an S, ends with abstract. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you say, Kate? Yeah, we subtract, okay? So what that means is I go 6x squared minus 6x squared, that's 0, that's gone. 7x minus 3x is 4x. That's all simple right now because everything's positive. But when you get into negative things in here, you have to remember that when you subtract a negative, you're really adding, okay? And if you're like subtracting a negative from a negative, then, you know, things get a little bit tricky. So be really careful with that step. But in this case, it's really easy. 7x minus 3x is 4x. Bring down the 2 and then play again. So now I'm going to look at just this term right here. And I'm going to say, what is 4x divided by 2x? I'm dividing by 2x again. Just like over here, when we got down to the 42, we're dividing by 21 again. What is 4x divided by 2x? 2. So that means that a 2 goes right there. Then I multiply this back through. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 1 is 2. If I go 4x minus 4x, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. So I am done. And so just like over there, when I did the division, I figured out that 672 is equal to 21 times 32. What I did here is I figured out that 6x plus 7x plus 2 is equal to 2x plus 1 times 3x plus 2. So basically have factored this polynomial by dividing it. Okay? Pretty exciting stuff, huh? Yeah, thank you, Joe. Thanks for your enthusiasm. Appreciate that. Gonna miss you next year. Well, maybe you'll be in my class again. He's the only one that applauds, but he does it fairly regularly. Makes me, you know, feel good about myself. Even if it's sarcastic applauding, even if he's like posting on social network, that stupid Aldrich, I applauded for him today, he thinks I really like his class, I hate it, it's the worst hour of my life. Jimmy? Are you leaving us? Oh. Okay, can we, is it like a right now situation? Okay, let's tackle this for a little bit longer. All right, so let's try another one. Ready? We are going to use polynomial long division to divide 4x squared plus 23x minus 16 by x plus 5. Okay? All right, so what did you say, Eli? 4x. So Eli has this all figured out. As usual, he says I got to take the first term here divided by the first term there. So he's going 4x squared divided by x. The x's cancel and leaving with 4x. So that goes right there. Okay? You guys see where that came from? All right, what do I do now that I know that's 4x? I multiply. So 4x times x, 4x squared, 4x times 5, 20x. What do I do next? Subtract. 4x squared minus 4x squared, those cancel. 23x minus 20x is 3x. Bring down the negative 16, and let's play again. Now I'm going to go 3x divided by x, the first term divided by the first term. What do I get from that? 3. So I put a 3 up here, and then I go 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 5 is 15. And then again I subtract. Okay, so here's where things get a little bit tricky. 3x minus 3x cancels. Negative 16 minus 15 is negative 31. Okay, so this time we did not get 0. Okay, so what is that? Do you remember from, okay, we could write it as a decimal. I love that. A remainder, yeah. So this is 4x plus 3 with a remainder of negative 31. Okay, now Aaron said that's going to be a decimal because it doesn't go in there evenly. So let me just improvise real quick and try and pick two numbers that aren't going to work. Let's say we had to do this. How many times does 13 go into 78? Oh, 6 evenly, huh? Uh-oh, maybe I chose. Okay, so that is 0, and then I bring down the 9. How many times does 13 go into 9? 0, so then that is 0, so I track that at 9 and I get 95. How many times is, what, 7? Not evenly, right? Okay, so 7 times 13 is 91. If I subtract those, I get 4. So there's two ways you could do this. You could get a remainder of 4, or Aaron said there would be a decimal, and I would find the decimal by going 4 divided by 13, right? The remainder divided by the divisor. Okay? Well, the same thing is true in this guy over here. We could write that as a remainder of negative 31, or we could say 4x plus 3 plus negative 31 over x plus 5. This remainder divided by that guy right there. Jimmy? What? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Okay, right. I see. And then that gives you the decimal because you keep working from there. Okay, I gotcha. Well, we're not going to do that with polynomial stuff. You're just going to get to the end, and yeah, I hear you. That's how you figure out what the decimal is. Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to leave. If there's a remainder, you can either write it like this, or you can write it as a fraction. Okay? Okay, let's see what you've won. Will you try this on your own? So we're going to go x minus 7 divided by 3x squared minus 29x plus 56. Okay? Try that on your own. Let's start with you. What number goes on top of the 3x squared? Good. So the first thing that you do is you take this number right here, 3x squared. You divide it by the first number there. 3x squared divided by x is 3x. So Jimmy tossed a 3x on top there. All right, and that is correct. What do you do next, Ty? Okay, you multiply, you distribute this right here to both of these things. So what's 3x times x? 3x squared, and then what's 3x times negative 7? Negative 21x, okay? So divide and then multiply. All right, well, we'll find out. Eli, what do we do now? Subtract. Okay, here's where things really get crazy with the cheese whiz, okay? 3x squared minus 3x squared cancels. But if I have negative 29x minus negative 21x, I'm really going negative 29x plus 21x, which would be what? Negative 8x. Okay, and then I also bring down the 56. Yeah, like I said, 95% of the mistakes happen right there on the subtraction. So be very, very careful with that. All right, Gabby, now I've got negative 8x plus 56. What do I do from there? No idea. Okay, you take the first term of this divided by the first term of this. In other words, what is negative 8x divided by x? Negative 8. And so that's the number that goes up here. Okay, you got it? Okay, good. And then, Gabby, now that I know that's negative 8, what do I do? Don't know? Okay, you take this number here and multiply both of these numbers by that. So what is negative 8 times x? Negative 8x. And then what is negative 8 times negative 7? Positive 56. Good. And so those of you who said no remainder, you were correct. These subtract. You get 0 as an answer. And so that means what we just figured out is that 3x squared minus 29x plus 56 equals x minus 7 times 3x minus 8. Okay? Because that went into there, it factors evenly. Okay? All right, so if they sort of change the... You're not coming back? Okay, we got like 20, half an hour. You'll be back. You'll miss us. You'll be back. Okay, so if it says, is x squared plus 1 a factor of 3x to the fourth minus 1, blah, 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 what they're saying is, if you divide this by this, do you get a remainder or not? Okay? And if you do get a remainder, it's not a factor. If you don't get a remainder, then it is a factor. So let's work our way through this one. Give you guys a chance to see the algorithm again. Carter, what do I do first? 3. Love it. Yes. So if you take the first term under here divided by the first term here, 3x to the fourth divided by 3x squared, Carter correctly figures out, is 3x squared. Okay? Because remember, when you are dividing exponents, you subtract them. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay? All right, next one. Not here. Then what do you do from there? Anthony is not with us. Kate, what do we do next? Okay, what do you get when you multiply it? Plus. Okay, so the next one, when you multiply, you get 3x squared, right? But this term is a cubed. So I'm actually going to skip a space, and I'm going to put the 3x squared underneath the other x squareds, so that I can do all the like term thingy. So 3x to the fourth minus 3x to the fourth cancels. Negative 4x cubed minus 0 is just negative 4x cubed. And then 12x squared minus 3x squared is 9x squared. Okay? Does that make sense? So you have to be careful. Line up the like terms with each other, because you can't subtract squareds from cubes. Okay? Okay, what do I do from there, Joe? I did that already. That's how I got this right here. I went 3x to the fourth minus 3x to the fourth, canceled. 12x squared minus 3x squared, 9x squared. So, not yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide the first term here by the first term there. So I'm going to go negative 4x cubed divided by x squared. What do you get from that? Not yet. Don't have to. Negative 4x. So I'm going to give you a clap back on that one. Okay. All right. So he figured this out, that this divides into negative 4x. So that goes right here. So what do we do now that we know that? Aaron? Multiply. So negative 4x times x squared is negative 4x cubed. Negative 4x times 1 is Okay, and then again, I'm not going to put that underneath the x squared because those don't line up. So I'm just going to tuck that over here. Okay? All right. Tread very carefully. Negative 4x cubed minus negative 4x cubed, those will cancel. 9x squared minus 0 is just 9x squared. Then I have 0 minus negative 4x. It'd be plus 4x, yeah. Okay? And then if we want, we can bring down the 5 right now, or we can wait. We're not going to use it quite yet, so I'm going to leave it where it is, okay? All right, so otra vez. Here we go one more time. Max, what's next? Good. 9x squared, first term right here, divided by x squared, first term there, is probably 9. So I'm going to put a 9 right there. Then what do you do from there? Okay, so 9x squared. Right, so I'm going to scoot that over to here so it kind of lines up with the 5. All right. And we can stop the madness right now. Austin, the question was, is that a factor, yes or no? I think we know the answer. Will there be a remainder? Yeah, it is not a factor because this will be 4x. 5 take away 9 is negative 4. X squared is too big to go into 4x. So this thing would be our remainder. So that means that it is not a factor. Okay? All right, how do you guys feel about that? Think you can handle it? Yeah? Okay, what do we do that. And then next up is probably synthetic. Oh, there we go. All right, tucked an assignment in there in the middle. Mm-hmm.